Artistic Gamer 7 and welcome back to another speed build here on the channel. This is going to be another community lot build, and it's definitely slightly different from some of the other ones I have built because there's almost no like inside space, and that is actually because it is for like an ocean type wedding. And I actually built this for one because I do want more wedding venues to choose from in my own gameplay and stuff like that, but also in particularly I actually had a particular sim who was engaged or had been engaged for a little bit of time and was needing a place to get married, and considering she is Vaporeon, definitely seemed fitting to actually have like an ocean wedding after, you know, Solani came into be. Now, I did just build this not too long ago. It's one of the more recent builds I built, and I actually built it right before I was getting ready to sort of come back on the channel and get everything going, so it is one of the more recent builds that I have done. And I forget exactly which lot it is. I know, from memory, I know it's one of the bigger lots in Solani, and it is up towards, like, the top left corner neighborhood section. It is up in there, but I forget the exact size and, location that it was at the time, even though I think I still have it. It's a little on my screen as I'm doing this voiceover, but the little drop down menu which says the lot type and like the location actually I think is still up there, so you could use that as an indicator on where it was built if you want to put it in the exact same place. Especially, I know with Solani a lot of times like the builds that you build for it, they almost only fit for that one lot. I mean, you could put them on other lots, but it may not look the same and be just a tad bit different, especially if you start adding lower levels that are like sitting right on top of the water and then you put it on someplace that doesn't have water. So definitely would get a different look to it. So yeah. Anyway, on back to this build that I have going on here. So I did tend to try to keep the colors more like blues and yellows and whites. One, because of wedding, two, because of Vaporeon. So Vaporeon was a strong influence for this build because I was sort of building it specifically for her wedding, but I still want to be able to use it for other people's weddings, and I also want y'all to have a chance to use it if y'all would like. So I didn't try to go like strongly influenced by her, but just ever so slightly influenced by her since I was building it for her. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. I did actually keep these like trees and some of the grass that was sitting on there that was on this like little lot to begin with. I do think I eventually moved them around a little bit because I ended up building a little restroom area over on that end, and then there's like a little kitchen area on the other end, so it is like a fully functional wedding venue. You can have like the cook come there and cook the cake, and places for people to use the bathroom, and all that is good to go. And I have actually already had, at the time of doing this voiceover, I've already had Vaporeon's wedding, so it technically has been playtested. The only thing that is annoying, which, I mean, I made a few changes to it as I was doing her wedding. One, I actually ended up adding some CC to my version just because I had some more CC that had like seashells and like things like that to add as like little decorations to give it even more of an islandy vibe and add just some more decorations onto it. But also, I learned that for me, I have my maximum number set for lots, I think, up to 50. The normal is 20, but with MCC I've changed it to 50, I believe, and I moved the bar because of this very reason. You'll eventually see where I put the bar. It's actually up near the walkway, but it's on the very far end, and I thought that'd be like a nice little area. It's in between the eating area and also where you'll eventually head down to go have seating. So planning-wise, I thought it was in a good area, but for me, because I have so many Sims that was invited to the wedding, I ended up moving the bar in mine just because it got way too chaotic in that one area and got way too congested. So I moved it so that it wasn't so congested in that one area, and since, you know, there was like movement to go back and forth there eventually for what I wanted the wedding to be, yeah, I moved those things around. But as you can also see, I did use, now that I've seen it in the video and remind myself, I did use the BB Live edit objects cheat, as well as the bb.move objects. I sometimes forget to mention that. So this is built with both of those in mind, and especially with the move objects cheat. I've noticed that if you go into the lot and then add the place, like you put in bb.move objects and then move the place in, it's fine. But even if you have, like me, I have MCC set up to where it enables bb.move objects automatically. So, and I keep MCC in even when I'm like doing builds and stuff. I take most of my CC out except for some. And a few object CC get left in because the particular folder they're in is also like an action type thing. So they get left in, but I don't use them. No CC is used in this whatsoever, but yeah, so anyway, back to what I was saying. If you place the lot in the world view versus on the actual, like, in the lot, I've noticed sometimes the move objects doesn't register, and things get moved and strung all about very strangely. So just keep that in mind if you've not really placed any lots too much straight from the gallery, or you don't tend to get ones that use the bb.move objects. Just keep that in mind if you do go to download this. That is enabled. I did use it throughout the build. Now, as I built this, I did try to keep strongly with stuff that came with Island Living. I feel like the next most used one was Jungle Adventure, if I am remembering correctly. Just because I feel like those two can tie in a little bit together and make sense and still look like a very islandy atmosphere. So I think those are the most used ones, but they are not the only used packs. I have all my packs actually turned on when I go into build mode. So none of them have been turned off to where I wouldn't have access to them. But I don't think too many of them have been used outside of the main one, which is Island Living. I have some from the Romantic Garden. I use that one a lot. That is a big one I use, partially because the flowers that I can put on the outside, I love them so much, so I use that one quite a bit. So if you're ever downloading one of mine, just know that I'm probably using Romantic Garden stuff in that one. But right now, this one was very strongly landscaping to some degree because, like I said, I didn't do much interior stuff. And I was still, I mentioned as well, I'm trying to get whites and yellows and blues, mainly as the color scheme. So this is like me making the pathway for the Sims to walk and go down and things like that. Which actually, they do follow this pathway. They do walk over top of it, and that's it. They follow it just fine, because sometimes Sims don't follow your pathways you make, but I think because these hedges, they actually do follow the pathway. They don't walk through them or anything. They just, unless like there's like some weird laggy glitch going on, they don't lag through the hedges. They actually continue to, they walk around and walk up the path. The only thing I will say is after I started doing the wedding venue, I realized the left side pathway is actually in the water, which I slightly noticed that while building, but because it was very ever so slightly in the water, I didn't think much about it. But I will say, if you do download this, you might want to edit that section a little bit, or only have like one pathway walking up to it or something, because if they walk up that side, it will register that they're going to be going into some water, and they'll actually put their bathing suits on, and let me tell you, that was one of the most annoying things to deal with while doing Vaporeon's wedding, because I was like, come on people, stop changing into your bathing suits, this is a wedding. Like, I wish it was like a feature that when they come to a wedding, there's certain clothes types that are automatically like just like not allowed, like not to change into whatsoever. Like, oh, I'm not supposed to wear my bathing suit here or my party outfit here, but no, I'm just gonna get my bathing suit. So yeah, that's a fair warning that they will get into their bathing suits if they walk on the left side versus the right side. So you might have to bring those pathways up a little bit if that really ends up bothering you enough. It bothered me quite a bit, but not enough, and also it was during the wedding, so it was really hard to actually would have been hard to go through and actually move the pathway while Sims were still walking around, so I just didn't bother. I let them start changing into their bathing suits, and the ones that I considered part of the wedding party or whatever were the only ones that I really started worrying about changing too often. So I was like, nah, no. You're part of the wedding. You're supposed to be in your other stuff. Random person over there. I don't care what you're wearing. But yeah. So as you can see, I am doing the bathrooms here. Fair warning, I don't put the, like, wallpaper or anything in the bathrooms at first. I come back and do that towards the end. I don't know what caused me to do, like, the decorations of the bathroom and things like that first, and then eventually go and put the wallpapers and stuff in, but I did do that, but I do eventually put the wallpapers and things like that on the inside. But yeah, this is a little, like, bathroom area. I try to sort of cover it up with the trees in some ways, and make it sort of like blend in with that area. Like the trees are sort of covering and hiding it up, but it's still there. And I tried to tie in all the buildings to the island theme and everything else going on in this, but not make them stick out too much because they're not the main focus. The whole platform with the walkway was the main focus, and that was the only thing that I went into this build like knowing was the color scheme and the fact that I wanted this really long walkway out to the platform to where the wedding arch and venue main part of the wedding would take place. That was the only thing going into this build that I knew for sure that I wanted to do. The rest of it, I just sort of started improvising as I built. Now, like I said, if you want to download this, you can't, feel free to do so. I should have probably already mentioned by now, though. The name of this lot is called Ocean Wedding. I wasn't very creative with the name, as you can tell. But I didn't want to, like... Yes, part of my inspiration for building this was Vaporeon, but I didn't want to include Vaporeon's name in, like, the name of the build, just because I wasn't trying to just let it be just her, but it was strongly made for her wedding. But like I said earlier, it still has uses to be used for other people. That was just the main theme that I was going for at the beginning. But yeah, it's called Ocean Wedding. It's over it will be over on my gallery, which is Artistic Gamer 7, so you can go and find it there and download it for yourself. Again, no CC, bb.moveobjects is being used. If for some reason you cannot find the build, definitely feel free to mention down in the comment below or message me over on Twitter like, hey, I really wanted to download the Ocean Wedding video, but I cannot find it on Origin. Just let me know and I'll definitely try to give you a link to it or let you know maybe like where exactly to find it, like, or if you're typing in the wrong thing or something. Or it could be that I've been a dum-dum and didn't realize I didn't actually upload it, because I have done that before, because I'll go and actually, like, type out the little info box and everything and get them ready when I finish them, or, like, as I'm doing this voiceover, I go and do that just so that it's ready for me for when I post the video. I can go ahead and upload it to the gallery a little bit before the video goes live. But sometimes I forget to actually go and upload it. I'll admit, dumb brain kicks into effect and I forget a little bit. So it also could be a situation like that. So definitely let me know if you can't find it so that I can help you locate this particular build. But now, let's get back to the build. Why don't we? At this point, I am making sort of like the little seating area, eating area that all the guests can go and eat. And for me, I definitely tried to get as much seating area as I could, but with this little amount of sand that I have to build on, there wasn't much room to actually, like, put tables and things like that, and I still wanted to give, like, that islandy feel. That's why I went with the picnic tables that have, like, the white and blue paint on them, because I felt like they were more fitting with sort of like the vibe I was going for. The two white tables together, I tried to make them look like they're one long table, but obviously it's two separate tables. That's intended for where the bride, the groom, and the wedding party members can sit as well. So that was my intention with that table. It's like the head table. I also include like a little tiny white end table eventually in front of this, which is intended for the cake. I think I actually tried to go and look with the live edit objects mode enabled if there was a cake that I could sit on there. I do know I have a CC cake, but obviously my CC's not in, and also I don't want to use CC on stuff on builds that I'm going to upload anyway. But I did notice, like, I found some cakes, but then when you place them, it's just an empty plate. So when you notice me placing empty plates, don't be surprised, because I was going to plan on it being a cake there, just because if someone downloads this that didn't watch the video, they know what that table was sort of meant for, but I couldn't put a cake there, so oh well. But as you can see, I haven't put the bar up yet. I'm actually going to put the bar right behind where the, like, wedding table is, like the main wedding table for the bride and groom and everything. I actually end up putting it there. I, like, bring in a little outcropping, but for me personally, I did end up moving the bar closer to the kitchen area for the fact that it got way too congested right there, but feel free to let it stay there for you if you want to, if you download this. But yeah, I basically am just trying a whole lot of things, like trying to add lights and trying to make it look really sort of pretty, but also try to keep an islandy vibe to it at the same time. Like, relaxing elegance. That's sort of a good way to go for it, I guess, if you get what I'm trying to say. Also, another thing that I just actually remembered, I do have this lot type set as generic as first, because one, I was pretty sure generics actually showed up for, like, options for wedding venues, even if you're not using, like, any mods or anything like that. But also because I didn't want it to be set as, like, a bar or anything, because I didn't want, like, random people coming to this and, like, during the wedding. I think I actually ended up having to change it myself to something different, so keep that in mind. You may want to, like, test and see if generic works for weddings, but I think I remember I did have to change that, and I think I had to change it to something where you have to add a musical instrument. I actually ended up adding the musical instrument here where I initially put the bar. So for me, there was still something up there, but it wasn't as, like, congested or anything. Again, it was a lot of Sims that were up there when I first, like, tried to, like, start the wedding, and a lot of Sims just were hanging up there that was, like, all around the bar before the event, like, officially kicked underway. But so feel free to do with that as you want, just let you know. So I don't know if the generic thing will actually let you have your weddings there, which is sort of weird to me. I feel like generic should be, like, an option, because generic, I feel like a lot of people would use generic when they don't know what to necessarily make the build of, if they don't want it to be a bar or a park or whatever. But yeah, so change that if you need to. Definitely test it beforehand and see if it actually shows up. I know I did have at one point a mod that just automatically let me pick any place for any type of event and stuff like that, any venue, but at the time it wasn't working for me, so I had to change this. I'm pretty sure I think I changed it to a lounge or a bar, something along those lines. Probably a lounge more than likely, because lounges tend to not get as popular in my game as the bars do, and just in general I felt lounge would have been just better to try to not have that overall bar theme going on. I do actually eventually turn it to nighttime while doing this, so if you end up having this wedding, if you download this and you have it at day or night, or a little bit of both, which is sort of what I did in a like, for me, it will be nicely lit up and really pretty at night and also really pretty at day. For my situation, I actually have, like, certain families that they can only have events at certain times of days because there are vampires within their family. Vaporeon's family, the Eevee family, is one of those, because, like, Umbreon and Misdreavus and Vaporeon was actually marrying a vampire, so just in general, there was going to be quite a few vampires in between friends and family that were going to be coming to this event. So I do make sure that it is nicely lit up and still really pretty and islandy and elegance, that island elegance, relaxed elegance, whatever, that theme that I have going on that I've decided is now named along the lines of island elegance or relaxed elegance. So yeah, that was sort of my overall theme, to make sure, you know, it was good in the day or the night. And, you know, for me, a lot of my venues, depending on what they are, I try to make sure they look good during both day and night, or at least in my opinion, they look good during day or night. Simply because I do have vampires. I know not everyone plays with vampires, or they don't even have vampires, or if they do have the vampires pack, they don't necessarily have any vampire sims, because they only, so I know a lot of people like a lot of the build and buy objects from vampires, and that's partially the reason why they got it. Me personally, I love playing with occult sims, so you bet there's some vampires and mermaids and aliens all over the place in my sim world, so yeah, I gotta keep that in mind for me, which, in general, a lot of these builds, I am building them because I want to eventually have, like, the whole entire, like, world be nothing but my builds or renovations in general, so that it's like, I feel like I'm accomplished. I feel like this is all mine. It's all uniquely mine, basically. And I also just really like building, and I figured it was a challenge to try to, for me to come up with all these different builds and stuff. And I don't really think I'm the best builder, so this is definitely, like, challenging me to try to do all these different community lots, different houses, and trying to make them all look a little bit different and unique. Obviously, like, certain houses, if they're all from the same neighborhood, I might try to give them, like, some element of similarity, but still be different, so it's definitely a challenge to try to build all the lots your own, or at least renovate some. So yeah, that's an interesting challenge I've got going for myself. We should be coming up onto the end of the video soon. The screenshots are going to start playing, and you can see, like, the little still images of how the lot venue turned out. Again, if you want to download it, is up on my Origin. If you ever forget the name of the particular lot, or you forget what my Origin ID is, I do have in the description of every single speed build that particular lot's name and my Origin account, so if you don't want to watch the whole video again, because I have a tendency to forget to not say the lot name or my Origin account until midway, like I did in this video. It's a bad habit of mine, I'll admit, so if you don't want to have to sit through the video again, it is going to always be in the description, so you can easily go look that up and be like, oh yeah, reminder, and then go look it up. My social medias are also going to be down there in the descriptions below. If you have any questions, feel free to comment, and also hit that lovely like button if you enjoyed the video, and hit the notification bell so that you're notified of the next speed build or whatever video it may be. Make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss the next speed build video of whatever it may be. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the video and the build, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!